Let me ask you something most men would never dare say out loud. Have you ever been with a woman, completely physically present, but felt like something was missing? Like the moment passed and you're not sure she felt it the way you did? Or maybe she seemed distant afterward. Maybe she stopped reaching for you the way she used to. And you told yourself it was stress or age or just the way things go after years together. But here's what I've seen in over a decade working with men. What a woman remembers about intimacy has almost nothing to do with what most men think it does. There are three specific moments, that a woman carries with her for the rest of her life. They shape how she feels about you, whether she trusts you, whether she still wants you. And the painful truth? Most men never learn what those moments are. Not because they don't care, but because no one ever told them. Today, I'm going to tell you. I'm Dr. Jocelyn Carter, a urologist with 12 years of experience helping men over 60 reclaim their vitality, strength, and confidence. I've worked with thousands of men who thought their best days were behind them, and time and again, the men who transform their relationships aren't the ones who made grand gestures. They're the ones who mastered these three quiet, powerful moments. Before we get into this, do me a favor. Hit that like button right now and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one and it helps this video reach the men who need it most. Gentlemen, let's be honest about something. We live in a world that taught men that intimacy is physical, that if you showed up, if you were present in body, that was enough, that performance was the measure of everything. But here's the problem with that thinking, and I see the consequences of it every single week in my practice. A man in his late 50s sits across from me and says, "Dr. Carter, I don't understand what happened. I thought we were fine. We had a good relationship." And when I ask him to describe the last three intimate moments he shared with his wife, he pauses. And then he describes the physical act, the mechanics. He tells me what happened, but not how either of them felt. That's the gap. That's the silence that grows between two people over years. Because here's what biology and psychology both confirm. A woman's memory of intimacy is not primarily stored in the physical. It is stored in the emotional. The moments she replays are the ones where she felt seen, safe, and chosen. And when those moments are missing, even if everything else is fine, something quietly dies. She doesn't always say it. She may not even fully understand why she's drifted. But the distance you feel, the warmth that's faded, it almost always traces back to one of these three moments being missed, repeatedly, over time. The good news is this. These moments are not complicated. They don't require you to be a different man. They require you to be more fully the man you already are. And it is absolutely not too late to start. The first moment women remember for a lifetime is the moment before. Biologically, here's what's happening. A woman's nervous system is wired differently than a man's when it comes to intimacy. While a man can shift into an intimate state relatively quickly, often within minutes, a woman's brain requires a longer runway. The hypothalamus, the part of the brain responsible for emotional safety and connection, needs to register that she is safe, that she is wanted, and that this moment is about her, not just about the act itself. Think of it like this. A man's intimacy is like turning on a light switch. Instant. A woman's is more like warming up an engine. The engine needs time, attention, and care before it runs at full capacity. If you try to drive before it's warm, something gets strained. Emotionally, what this means is profound. When a man rushes, when he moves from distracted to physical without transition, a woman's brain does not register closeness. It registers pressure. And pressure is the opposite of desire. She may comply, but compliance is not connection, and compliance does not become a memory she cherishes. What she remembers, what she will tell her closest friend years from now, is the man who paused, who looked at her, who said something real, not rehearsed, not a line, something that made her feel like the only person in the room. Practically, here's what this looks like. In the 20 minutes before any intimate moment, put the phone down completely, not face down, away. Make eye contact during a normal conversation and hold it one beat longer than usual. Touch her without it being a signal, a hand on her back while she's standing at the sink, a brush of her arm. These are not techniques. These are acts of presence, and presence is what women remember. Robert was 63 when he came to see me. He'd been married for 31 years. He said, "My wife told me she feels invisible." He was devastated. He worked hard, he was faithful, he showed up every day. He had no idea what she meant. I asked him one question. When's the last time you looked at her, really looked at her, before you wanted something? He went quiet for a long time. 3 weeks later, he came back. He said, "Dr. Carter, I started sitting with her for 10 minutes every evening. No phone, no TV, just talking. She cried the first time I did it. I didn't understand why." I told him, "She cried because she remembered what it felt like to be seen." 6 weeks after that, he told me their relationship felt like it had when they were first married. Not because anything dramatic changed, because the moment before became real again. The second moment women remember for a lifetime is the moment of vulnerability. Here is the biology of this, and pay close attention because this is the one most men get completely wrong. When a man is vulnerable, when he admits uncertainty, shares something tender, lets his guard down, a woman's brain releases oxytocin. That's the bonding hormone, the same neurochemical that fires during moments of deep trust. In other words, your vulnerability is not weakness to her brain. It is the signal that triggers bonding. The analogy I use with patients is this. Think of trust like a lock. Most men spend their lives trying to pick the lock, trying to do the right thing, say the right thing, perform well enough to earn closeness. But vulnerability is the key. It doesn't pick the lock, it opens it. Emotionally, this is where most men over 50 struggle the most. Our generation was taught that strength meant silence, that a man doesn't show weakness, that admitting fear or uncertainty makes you less. And I understand where that came from, but I've seen what it costs. I've seen men sit alone in their 70s, wondering why their wives always seemed like strangers to them, never realizing it was because they never let her in. What a woman remembers is not the strong performance. She remembers the moment he said, "I was scared," or "I don't always know what I'm doing," or "You matter to me more than I've ever known how to say." Those moments live in her forever. Practically, this doesn't mean you need to pour out your soul every evening. Start small. Once a week, share one real thing. Not a complaint, a feeling. "I've been feeling uncertain about this. I miss how we used to be. I'm proud of how hard we've both worked." Real, specific, true. That's all it takes to open the lock. Michael was 58, a retired engineer. Precise, logical. He came to me because his wife had told him she didn't feel close to him anymore, even though he had done everything right. He looked genuinely confused, as if emotional distance were a malfunction he could troubleshoot. I told him, "The problem isn't what you're doing, it's what you're not saying." I gave him one assignment. That night, tell your wife one true thing about how you feel. Not about her, not about the relationship, just something real about your inner world. He came back 2 weeks later looking like a different man. He said, "I told her I was afraid of getting old and losing who I was. She held my hand and said she'd been feeling the same way." He paused. Then he said, "We talked until 2 in the morning. I don't think we've done that in 20 years. That's the moment of vulnerability, and she will remember it for the rest of her life. The third moment women remember for a lifetime is the moment after. And gentlemen, this is the one I cannot stress enough, because this is the one that undoes everything else. Here is what happens in the brain after intimate connection. Both partners experience a release of oxytocin, but there's a critical difference. In women, oxytocin levels remain elevated for significantly longer, sometimes hours. During that window, her brain is scanning for one thing. Do I matter to him beyond this moment? The analogy is simple but powerful. Imagine spending 6 months building a beautiful structure, careful, intentional, full of meaning. And then, the moment it's finished, you walk away without a word. The structure doesn't disappear, but what does she do with it alone? That is what the moment after feels like when a man disengages immediately. When he rolls over, picks up his phone, falls asleep, or shifts into logistics, the intimacy that was just built doesn't transfer into lasting connection. It evaporates. And what's left is a quiet loneliness that she will carry forward. Emotionally, this is the moment that defines whether she feels chosen or used. And I want to be very clear. Men who disengage after intimacy are almost never doing it to be hurtful. They are following a biological pattern. Testosterone drops sharply after intimacy, inducing relaxation and sleep. It is natural, but it is also something you can consciously override, and the reward for overriding it is enormous. Practically, here is all it takes. Stay present for 15 minutes after intimate connection. Hold her, say her name, ask her how she's feeling. Tell her something true, even something small. I'm glad we have this. You're my favorite person. That mattered to me. 15 minutes. That is the entire investment. And it is the difference between a memory she treasures and a moment she tries not to think about. David was 67. He came to me not for a physical issue, but because his wife of 38 years had told him she felt like a hotel. He checked in, and then he checked out. He was heartbroken. He loved her deeply. He just had never connected that the moment after mattered as much as the moment itself. I told him the 15-minute rule. He thought it sounded almost too simple. He called my office 3 weeks later, which patients almost never do. He just wanted me to know that his wife had told him, for the first time in years, that she felt cherished. That one word, cherished. He said, 15 minutes, Dr. Carter, that's all it was. Here is your simple action plan, gentlemen. Step 1, master the moment before. In the 20 minutes before intimacy, put your phone away, make real eye contact, and touch her without agenda. Be present before you need anything. Step 2, offer the moment of vulnerability. Once a week, share one real, unguarded feeling, not performance, truth. Let her in through the lock that only vulnerability can open. Step 3, protect the moment after. Stay present for 15 minutes. Hold her. Say something true. Let her know that what just happened mattered, that she matters, beyond the moment itself. That's it. 3 moments. That's all it takes to become the man she remembers. If you're watching this and feeling some weight, maybe some regret, maybe some recognition, I want you to hear this directly. You are not broken. You were never taught these things. Most men weren't. The culture you grew up in did not prepare you for this kind of emotional fluency, and that is not a personal failure. It is a gap in what you were given. But here is what I know after 12 years of sitting across from men in every season of life. It is never too late. I have seen men in their 70s rebuild intimacy from the ground up. I have seen marriages that felt cold for decades catch fire again, not because everything changed, but because one man decided to show up differently in 3 quiet moments. Your body is still capable. Your heart is still capable. Your relationship is still capable. Vitality is not something you lost. It is something that is waiting to be awakened. And the men who awaken it are the ones who decide that today is not too late to begin. If this video reached something in you, if you recognized yourself in any of these stories, please like this video right now. It helps more men find this content who genuinely need it. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 3 moments do you think most men struggle with the most? The moment before, the moment of vulnerability, or the moment after? I read every comment and I'd love to hear from you. Share this with a man you care about, a friend, a brother, a son. This is the kind of conversation most men never have, and it can change everything. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Every week I bring you honest, research-backed guidance on men's health, vitality, and connection, because you deserve more than just getting older. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, reminding you that after 50, vitality isn't lost. It's waiting to be awakened. Take care of yourself, gentlemen, and I'll see you in the next one.